What happens when a courtroom becomes the center of a national obsession? When every testimony sparks outrage, every witness creates more questions, and millions of people wait for a verdict that could change everything. This is the story of the trial that shocked America. Before sunrise, the courthouse was already surrounded. News vans lined the streets. Reporters stood outside in the cold, preparing for live broadcasts. Protesters gathered with signs, some demanding justice, others demanding freedom for the accused. Social media was flooded with theories, arguments, and speculation. This wasn't just a criminal trial anymore. It had become a national event. Inside the courtroom, the tension was unbearable. Every seat was filled. Cameras waited outside for updates. Legal analysts prepared to dissect every word spoken inside. Families sat in silence, their emotions written all over their faces. The defendant sat motionless, avoiding eye contact. Everyone knew this case would be remembered for years. It all began with a crime so disturbing, it immediately captured public attention. Investigators arrived at a horrifying scene. Details leaked quickly, and the media coverage exploded. Within days, the suspect was identified. The story became front-page news across the country. Police believed they had their person. The timeline looked suspicious. Witnesses claimed strange behavior. Investigators uncovered digital records, surveillance footage, and forensic evidence that appeared to point in one direction. To many watching from home, the case seemed straightforward. But real trials are never that simple. When the prosecution began presenting its case, confidence filled the courtroom. They laid out a detailed timeline, minute by minute. They described the suspect's alleged movements. They presented evidence they believed connected the accused directly to the crime. Witness after witness took the stand. Investigators spoke with certainty. Prosecutors painted the picture of a carefully planned act. The public believed conviction was inevitable. Then the defense began its case, and suddenly, everything changed. Defense attorneys attacked the investigation from every angle. They questioned how evidence had been handled. They pointed out inconsistencies in witness statements. They challenged timelines that once seemed airtight. They suggested the investigation move too quickly toward one suspect while ignoring other possibilities. For the first time, doubt entered the courtroom. Then came the witnesses. One witness confidently told their version of events, only to struggle under cross-examination. Another contradicted earlier statements. A key expert faced intense questioning that made even legal analysts uneasy. The courtroom atmosphere shifted with every testimony. Then came the emotional moments. A witness broke down crying on the stand. Family members left the courtroom in tears. The judge was forced to pause proceedings after heated arguments between attorneys. One exchange became national headlines within minutes. People watching from home picked sides immediately. Social media exploded after every court session. Clips went viral. Legal experts argued late into the night. Some believed the prosecution was winning. Others said the defense had completely dismantled the case. Then came the moment everyone remembers. The prosecution introduced what they believed was their strongest piece of evidence. The courtroom fell silent. This was supposed to be the moment that ended all doubt. But instead, it created even more questions. The defense challenged its reliability. Analysts debated its meaning. The public became even more divided. Weeks passed. The trial consumed the nation. People argued at work, in restaurants, at family dinners. Friends unfollowed each other online over disagreements about guilt and innocence. Every facial expression from the defendant became a discussion point. Every pause, every objection, every reaction was analyzed. And then, it was time. Closing arguments began. The prosecution urged the jury to focus on the evidence. They argued the truth was obvious. They reminded jurors of the victim, the timeline, and the facts they believed proved guilt. The defense delivered a different message. They reminded jurors that suspicion is not proof, that assumptions are not evidence, That doubt means freedom. When both sides finished, the courtroom felt emotionally drained. Then came the waiting. The jury disappeared behind closed doors. One day passed, then another. Speculation exploded. Would there be a conviction, an acquittal, a hung jury? Nobody knew. News networks ran non-stop coverage. Experts guessed what was happening inside deliberations. The defendant waited in silence. Family members prayed. And then, the announcement came. The jury had reached a verdict. The courtroom filled instantly. You could feel the tension. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The judge entered. The defendant sat perfectly still. Family members held hands tightly. Then the judge asked the question everyone had waited for. Has the jury reached a verdict? Yes. Gasps filled the courtroom. The clerk stood, and then the verdict was read. In that single moment, everything changed. Some people cried. Others stared in disbelief. One family collapsed into tears. Outside the courthouse, chaos erupted instantly. Reporters shouted into cameras. Protesters screamed. Social media exploded within seconds. But even after the verdict, the debate didn't end. Some believed justice had finally been served. Others believed the truth was never fully uncovered. Years later, people still argue about what really happened. Was the right person convicted? Did the jury make the right decision? Or was America watching a case where the full truth never truly came out? Some trials are remembered for the verdict. Others are remembered because the questions never disappear. And this was the trial that shocked America. If you want more true crime courtroom stories, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.